Hey y'all, it's Erica. As you know, if you follow this account, I'm a registered nurse and a lactation consultant. Last Saturday, I threw my very first event/class called the First Rodeo, and I just want to talk all about it because it was a learning experience for me, for sure. And it is also, I hope, to be a learning experience for any other lactation consultants who want to do this kind of thing. So we're gonna get straight into it and talk about this stuff. So a quick little background. I have had the idea of having a really fun in-person breastfeeding class since I want to say like 2020. And then the pandemic happened, and obviously I was like, okay, we're not doing it. And then it just took a while for things to open back up. But once they finally did last year, I was like, I really want to do this. I only told a couple of people, and each person was like, that's a great idea, you should do it. And then one day, I was just sitting here at home, and impulsively, I found a venue to have it, and I was like, I'm just gonna book it right now and see what happens. And I booked it, and the next day they confirmed my booking, and I was like, well, I guess I'm throwing an event. So I booked the space in July and started to plan the event right then and there. The event was on October 1st, and so I started thinking about this back in July. The end of July, maybe early August, I started reaching out to brands because as much fun as it is to go to a breastfeeding thing, it's way more fun when there's like an incentive and there's like gifts and prizes and just things that people are gonna buy or want with breastfeeding anyway. So like, obviously, if y'all know me, you know that I am very anti things. Like, I don't always want to promote things. I don't want to make people feel as though in order to be successful at breastfeeding, they need to buy anything. But at the end of the day, people are gonna buy stuff anyways. So I almost feel like it's better as a lactation professional to kind of verbalize like what's worth it and what's not, or like what brands are trying to honor you as a parent rather than make you feel insecure or prey on your insecurities. So I reached out to a couple of brands that I've worked with before, brands that I respect, that I think are also looking out for people, and then also just really popular ones anyways, like things that people are always like, oh, I want this. And I want to say last year, I did a survey to kind of see if I did throw an in-person thing, what kind of things would you want to see at the event? And so I kind of took that survey or whatever and applied it. Now, I reached out to a couple of brands. Some answered me back, some didn't. And as far as brand outreach and those type of things, I feel like I did really well there. And overall, like, the brands came through. Like, they truly came through. Throughout this video, I'm gonna show y'all some pictures and stuff of the event, but they came through, and I am seriously so thankful that they were able to help me make the first event as good as I thought it was. Okay, so moving on to, let's talk about to my learning lessons. Throughout the process of planning, so on September 1st, the tickets went on sale. From September 1st to October 1st, that was my window to promote, sell, engage, and get people there. So from September 1st to October 1st, that was a really stressful time for me. And one thing I really learned is I have an issue putting myself out there and promoting myself, which is something that I have to get over. And I think if you are in the space of wanting to be, I don't like the word entrepreneur because I don't feel like that's what I am, but at the same time, I was making big boss moves, so maybe. But if you are in the space of being a healthcare professional and somebody that's trying to be in the community and like an entrepreneur, you have to put yourself out there in a different way. So anyways, that is what I did, and we'll get into what I consider learning lessons. 3 weeks ago, I would have said they were mistakes, but in the words of my boy Big Sean, no mistakes in life ever, it's only lessons. That is what my takeaway from all of this. So here are the 5 mistakes or life lessons that I learned throughout the process of planning this event. As y'all know, like I said, the event is called the First Rodeo, and I think that's always going to be the title for all of my breastfeeding classes. One, because I bought all the stuff already and I'm reusing it gotta save money. 2, I am from Houston, Texas, and it just feels appropriate to have something rodeo themed. And 3, I love it when people say like, this ain't my first rodeo. Like, I love that. And the thing is this is everybody's first rodeo. So it's like, even if you breastfed, this could be your 3rd baby. It's your first time with this baby. So no matter what, you're going into it, it's your first rodeo. And with this course, this was my first rodeo. And this was my first time doing a big group like this. And ultimately, I loved what I did, and I'm very proud of myself. And I don't say that about myself very often, but I'm very proud of myself. And so let's get into it. I keep getting sidetracked. Let's get into the 5 things. So number 1, I reached for the stars with this event, y'all. Like, I was like, I told myself that I was gonna book big rather than thinking small. And this is something I, as a person, have an issue with, where I am like, I can do X, Y, and Z, but really, can I do X, Y, and Z? There is a quote that I saw someone post on Instagram a while back that was like, don't confuse your capabilities with your capacity. And I did that here. Like, I know, truthfully, I could teach a class of 20 people, but was I able to fulfill that with promoting and going out and like doing all of the things that I needed to do in order to get this event going? Not necessarily. So anyways, I reached for the stars as far as how many people. I had a plan for 2 classes with 2 classes of 20, so 40 people total, 1 in the before noon and 1 in the afternoon. That would have been great, but looking back now, what I learned is honestly 20 people would have been too many. The total amount that I ended up having in 1 class only, because I scratched doing the 2 very last minute, but 1 class only, I had a total of 8 people purchase tickets. Last minute, 1 or 2 people didn't show up, but a total of 8 purchased tickets. And at first, I was really bummed that it was only 8. And I had to keep reminding myself of like, 1, that's still 8 tickets. 8 is better than 0. 2, I was able to, I feel like, give so much more of myself to the people that were in the room because of it. And even going forward, I'm like, gonna make sure I email them. I got their due dates, I have their baby names, and I just want to be in contact with them more frequently and kind of help them along their journey. And one thing I always forget about this job of being a lactation consultant is it is a lot of emotional work, and it is a lot of soul giving. And so less is truly more as far as me being able to give myself. And so I had 8 people total, and yeah, it was, or 6, 7. Anyways, it was less than 8 people, and that ended up being the perfect amount. So going forward, I am not going to try and do a huge class. I'd rather it be just 10 or less more intimate settings. So yeah, I reached for the stars as far as the sizing, but what I learned throughout it is that less is more, obviously. The second mistake that I made, and this is a big one, and this is something that now looking back on it, I'm like, doy, I had my event in an area that I do not serve as a lactation consultant. And I picked it, 1, because being in the city is the bomb. Like, I love being in Houston. I love the vibe. I prefer to be in the city as frequently as I possibly can. And I just think it's fun. I think it's cool to go to brunch afterwards and like go places. But I don't live there. I live 45 minutes away. And the thought, most of the people who registered did live there. And that is awesome. And I'm so glad. But as I was promoting throughout, because I'll get into how we promote it. But as we were promoting, I remember at one point telling my husband, we probably need to do this in Houston. Like, we shouldn't be doing this where we live. And we did spend the day in Houston one day putting up, my husband stapled all of these things. He like put flyers everywhere. He did so great at like putting all the things up. But we put them all up in Houston, and I just remember thinking like, I won't see these people though, because they won't deliver in Katy. They won't be out anywhere where, like, I serve basically the west area of Houston, or far west. of Houston. So yeah, I promoted there. Most of the people live there. Whenever they do need a lactation consultant, unfortunately, I won't be the one to help them because I don't live in that area. But I do work with a practice that has tons of lactation consultants in that area. So, you know, the icing on the cake is no matter what, these people will get served by a lactation consultant. They know to reach out to a lactation consultant. They have the resources. So like, yada, yada, yada. It's not about me. I know that. And ultimately, this event is for the people who want to go forth with breastfeeding. So it's going to be good no matter what because they'll get helped. But as far as me establishing, like, if I want to have my own business one day and establishing my clientele and those type of things, I did not set it up for me necessarily. So the next time I do this, I decided I'm going to stay within my vicinity. But also another thing I remembered just now, I'm so scatterbrained, sorry. When we were trying to promote, I kept thinking like, let's drive to Houston. But again, it's such a drive. Like, it was an inconvenience for me to drive to go and promote that I was like, if it's an inconvenience for me to just go there on a random day, it's gotta be inconvenient for someone that's pregnant to come out there. You know, it probably just isn't as fun, but I don't know. Also, the thing about Houston is people don't like to drive. People do not like to commute. I did not realize this until I moved to the suburbs, but like so many people where I live right now are like, yeah, no, I never leave where we're from. Like, I never leave this part of town. And I'm like, oh, okay. So now I know that the next time I do something like this, only in the community that I serve. And that's unfortunate because like I said, I love Houston, but it is more beneficial for me to reach more people within my area that I can continue to grow with and continue to work with long term. Number 3, this kind of goes with the first point, is that I booked a venue for a big group. So y'all, I spent too much money. That's a huge thing. I think that's one of the points that I didn't list, but essentially I spent more than I made, which is fine. I know that's how business works sometimes, but had I at least even booked a smaller venue for a shortened amount of time, because again, I thought I was going to be there for at least 6 hours, so I booked for 6 or 7 hours. If I would have just booked for 3 hours, I would have saved money, saved time. There would have been more benefits there. So just going back to point number 1 of me reaching for the stars, I booked for a long time expecting the flow of the money to like balance out better, and it did not. So the venue I booked was beautiful, but it was big, it was spacious, we didn't need all the space, and it was pricey. So lesson learned. Next time I will not be doing that. Next time I will keep it small, really be more focused on how much money I'm spending as far as booking a venue, and yeah, just keeping it a little bit more low-key chill on the spacing. Okay, so number 4 is, while I liked the flow of the class, I did not love that I didn't have a projector. On the venue booking, it said that there was going to be a projector, and there was not a projector. There was a TV in a different room. So I think I just got like mixed up a little bit. I didn't research hard enough. I didn't really like focus. I think I was just, some days I'm just more impulsive than others. And is it related to my cycle? I have no idea. But some days I'm so impulsive that I'm just like, book. Who does that? But I did not thoroughly research as much as I should have. And anyways, I wish there would have been a projector. We did have these really cool booklets, and I loved the booklets that I made. It was about 30 pages worth of information covering basically what happens throughout prenatal to day 1, day 2, day 3, and then going home. The back of the book had resources. I printed out these for everybody that was there because it was a smaller event. I printed all of them out and I gave them to them at the event in this really cute folder with a coupon inside, the booklet, and I want to say that's it. Actually, that was all that was inside. Oh, and we played games. And so I had the printout of the games also inside. And I think at the end of this video, I'll kind of show you what it looks like. So yeah, I had those printed out, and that was really cool, and that was great, and I liked the flow. I had a booklet also when we kind of read through together, but I think it would have been easier if I had a something like PowerPoint-esque, maybe. I'm gonna do a survey actually with the people who came and just kind of see what I can do better also for next time and what they liked about the event. And that is actually on my list of things to do today. So might have a part 2 of this video, who knows. Then the last life lesson here is that I went out of my way, and I didn't mind doing this, so I don't mean to say I went out of my way, but I did wake up earlier than normal. And I went to Shipley's, which is a Houston, maybe Texas, Houston for sure, donut place, just because I know I can get the best bang for my buck on donuts and kolaches there. And I went and got breakfast, so that way everybody had food, I had drinks. But you know how people are when you go to places, and I forget that people are like this, but nobody really wanted to eat anything. And that's totally fine. Like, I don't mind at all, because I was able to, you know, we were gonna donate some of the food afterwards to the unhoused people around Houston, or we were going to, that ended up not working out, so I just brought it all home and my kids ate them. But I had a lot of food left over, and a lot of people were like, oh, I'm not hungry, oh, I ate before I came. So that is something else I should have taken into consideration with the 10 a.m. to 12 time. It's after breakfast but before lunch, so people might not be hungry, so I don't necessarily need to put forth an investment towards food. Or if I do, maybe surveying people beforehand and seeing if that is something that they're interested in, because I made an assumption and I was wrong. So yes. I still do think food is always a nice touch to have at events though. Since we talked about my life lessons, I want to talk about the things that I loved about the event, because like I said, I am really proud of myself. It was me putting myself out there in a way I never have. It's something that I've thought about doing, and I finally just bite the bullet. I finally just took a leap and I said, you know what, let's just do it. And that, to me, for my personality type and who I am, that is a big deal to me, that I just decided to go for it. And so yeah, I'm really proud of myself. So some things that I loved about it is I love the flow of how the class and the event went. So there were tables for them to sit, write, take notes. We were talking. I loved how conversational everyone was, and everybody felt comfortable to ask questions. We were gonna save questions for the end, but I also ended up going overtime because, y'all, I could talk about this stuff all day. I could literally talk all day about how to prepare for breastfeeding. So that is another thing, is I think I might make the time a little bit longer so we don't have to rush as much. But we were able to ask questions and talk. It was just very conversational, very chill, and I love that about it. I loved all of the prizes and the sponsors, and I will show the table that we had and share who the sponsors were in the description. But I loved we had tables to sit and write on, tables with the donuts, and then tables with the prizes. And I love that. I thought everything inside looked really cute. Everything was set up really well. And overall, like, you know, obviously there's some things that I learned that I'll do better next time, but I truly think I'm only going to get better at this, and that is exciting for me. And I just am really excited, like, going forward on how to share more prenatal breastfeeding education in a fun way, because I do think that is something that this profession is missing. I think it is missing fun. It's missing, like, people being innovative. I feel like a lot of breastfeeding education is so, like, stuffy and restrictive and, like, scary almost. Like, I feel like people are nerved about their experience because they only hear what they can do or what they can't do or blah, 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 blah. And I just feel like I was able to talk to them from the perspective of someone that's worked in a hospital and that has worked in private practice. And I've seen both sides. I've seen the impacts of what happens in a hospital and how it carries over. But I've also seen the impacts of things that happen in the hospital and how it does not impact as much as we think it does. It really all just depends on you and your baby. Well, anyways, I just feel like breastfeeding education has come a very long way, but we can go further and we can make this more fun and we can make it more tolerable and get it into people's hands in a way that just feels good. So the first rodeo, in my opinion, was a hit, and I don't talk this highly of myself ever, and I think ultimately done is better than perfect. Like, there's so many quotes that go with how I feel about what we just accomplished. So yes, that is my take. I will be sharing more. If you have questions, comment below. Please like this video, please subscribe, please share. In the coming weeks, I'm really gonna focus my energy more on YouTube. So if there's something you want to see specifically in the lactation realm of like being a lactation consultant, like how I do certain things, what I use, blah, 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 comment below and just let me know. If you have questions specifically about how to become a lactation consultant, I do have a $15 course video type of thing, and I'll leave the link for that as well. Only reason it's priced is because it took me a long time to film and edit it a while back, and I am sharing more personal things as far as like my study guide, my scoring, like lots of official documents. So yeah, if you are interested in that, the link will also be below. That is all for now. Thank you for watching.